I'm Brandon McLean, and I have a car buying addiction. In order to combat this, I opened a mechanic shop to make some money, to help restore my cars while helping the people I can. Problem is, I can't stop buying cars. I have a lot of cars to restore and little time to do it, and the more I talk about it, the less time I can be doing it. So welcome to Terminated Restorations. Alright, new day in the shop. Still need to finish up this bolt horn. Time to start working on suspension, tires, brakes. The whole 9 yards need to be replaced. So I guess we'll start getting works on the brakes first. I'll get all of the parts ordered and maybe replaced here. Also found out that we need to replace the rims and tires for all four wheels, which is fine. It's a large expense, but I'm sure all work out in the end. At least you can reuse his calipers and brake disc and all that for all these other ones. None of these wheels are reusable, so we can just go ahead and order them all. So first let's get the brake pads ordered before we forget. Alright, and then we'll go to the rim shop. We need rim classic. We need number 9, and we need 20-inch tires. And then for here we need off-road tires. B? Yeah. Need 20-inch, 275, and 50 profile. And I need 4 of these. Get these working while we go back to tearing up some of this car. Alright. Back to work. Just ripping off everything. Okay, both the drive axles I think need to be replaced. We probably should replace that one as well, I would believe. Yes. Front sway bar also looks like it needs to be replaced. Probably the steering rack. 2 tie rods. Inner and outer rod. Let's see. Let's take off these end links. So past driver's side looks like it's gonna need an end link. Yep. And we got the drive axles. Need both of the front springs removed. Get this drive axle out. We're gonna have to go under the car for a lot of this stuff. Get this guy out. Tie rod. Oops. Tie rod. I think all the rest of that was fine. Yep, let's get her lifted up more. Okay. Sway bar, yep. Steering, yep. Yep. A whole bunch of rubber bushings. That one. And that one. I think that does it in the front. Did I put this on the bouncer and then not put another tire on? I'm so dumb sometimes. Okay. Let's break this off. Rear drive axle. I think that needs replaced. Both sides. So let's get that out of here. And then we need rear sway. Both of these on both sides. Both rear shocks. Perfect. I think we can actually put that brake pad back on. This rear spring on both sides is done. And I think the cap is done as well. Does it need a new spring cap? No. Let's see, is there any rubber bushings back here that need to be replaced? Yes, and these arms, so both sides. Make sure we get that end link. I think that's everything back here that needs to be replaced. So we got a long list of parts. Go ahead and get that installed. Start ordering me some parts. So we need front drive axle D, 2 axle A's. We need a front sway. If I can spell front sway. We need front sway wire B. We need one end link. We need steering rack. We need tie rods, inner and outer. We need rubber bushings. We need 6 of these, not the small ones. Regular size rubber bushings. We need rear drive axles. See, rear drive axle. I need 2 of these. Need 2 shock absorber. 2 of these ones, I believe. I'll probably end up being wrong. 2 rear springs. 2 rear. Those 2 rear shock absorber caps. I think that's everything. Okay, let's get these moved around. Need to rip apart the shock absorbers, these old ones. Let's get these new parts mounted. I was right, it was shock absorber A's. It does help to make a list. Of course, I didn't fully make that list. Just kind of winged it. Okay, brand new brake pads. Regular old caliper. And that only needs a wheel. And we're all done on this side. Did I buy the front caps? Didn't even buy the front springs. Springs and cap for the front. And front Perfect. Okay, let's get those joined together, get these. That's the last tire of those. Perfect. Let's get this side reassembled. Drive axle in. Sway bar linkage. Rear spring. Rear shock absorber cap. Rear shock. Perfect. Brake pads. Brake caliper. And classic rim. Perfect. Let's get this guy. Get this guy. And let's go to work on the front. Getting this bad boy put back together. So front drive axle actually. Solid nude front. Oops. Put the old one back on again. Alright. Need to get all of those rubber bushings put back in. Otherwise the ride might be a little uncomfortable. I think we missed one in the back, so we gotta go check that. Alright. Brake pads. Sway bars, steering rack, end rod, tie rods, and get that wishbone shock absorber in. Over here, get the same thing on this side. Shock absorber, sway bar linkage. Tie rod, brake ventilated, brake pad, brake caliper, and rim. Perfect. Let's go over here now. Get that caliper on. Get this rim on. Perfect. Alright, did we miss a bushing back here? We did in fact miss this bushing. I think we might have missed both? No, we got that one. This car should be all done. Looks like we are. Let's get her lowered down. And yes, we did. Alright, customer brought me this Royal Crown that he bought at a dealer, and it's been getting worse, which is weird for a 124,966 kilometer car, but not uncommon. He told me it needs an air filter and an ignition coil, but to do any general maintenance to this vehicle. So our general thing is hopefully it starts and we can put it on the path. But I kind of have a sinking suspicion this engine has a few more problems than that. So let's just dive right into it and test out all of the parts and see what we need to replace. This might actually be a full engine replacement. Battery and an alternator. Okay, not a bad start. Let's see what the OBD says. That comes back with all but one ignition coil and all but one spark plug. That's a great sign. And what's the compression tester tell us? That doesn't look good. piston, two of the 4 pistons, the engine block, and the crankshaft. This is going to be a full engine rebuild. Perfect. Just what we wanted. Let's go ahead and check the tires while we're at it. And then move it right on over to get the engine pulled out of this problem. Alright, at least the tires are good. So it should be able to move. Alright, put it on the car lift. Let's get the engine hoist over there. Don't want to waste any time. We know we need to get the engine out. Let's get the engine out. We need to drain the oil first, so that way I would rather not make a mess on my floor again. Alright, we got that oil out. Let's tear right into her. We need to remove the front tires in order to get to the drive shaft. Awesome. Okay, that side's done. Go ahead and do this side. Alright, let's... Now, we should be able to remove drive shaft. And we need to remove the starter, which we have to lower the car to get to the starter. Damn newer vehicles. Okay, starter. Which we know is good. That turbo does not look good. But it might actually be good, but we don't know. I haven't tore the engine out yet, because I haven't been able to take the gearbox off. Okay, so far everything on the bottom has been fine. Okay, we need to remove the turbocharger from the car. Yeah, that turbocharger needs replaced. Okay. We need to lift the car again. Let's go ahead. Start ordering parts. We need a battery. ABS needs to be replaced. That brake servo needs to be replaced. Oil filter. Know that for certain with the way that looked like coming out. This one. Need all 4 ignition coils. I'm gonna just go ahead and do 4, and I'm gonna do 4 spark plugs as well. We need... Well... Need to remove this pipe first. Oh, lovely. I know that catalytic converter needs to be replaced. I think just the whole exhaust just kind of looks that way from general first analysis. Okay, let's go back to the front. And what is this pipe? This needs to be replaced. And this turbo also needs to be replaced. Alright, that should allow us to pull the engine. Gonna go ahead and check the air filter while we're here. Looks like an air filter. Next we will check. Okay, let's just get that fuel pump replaced. Fuel pump. Get one of those, put that in the back here. Perfect. Alright, now pull that engine out. Get that brake servo out. Get this ABS replaced. Okay, we already ordered these. Perfect. Brake servo. We got a battery ordered, so let's get that put in. Perfect. Alright, that should be all that. Let's get this engine on the stand and tear right into it. Let's make a note as we go. We need to get this crank, because we know we need to replace the blocks, so this has to be bare boned all the way down. So that's good. Manifold cover. That's good. Is the exhaust manifold itself good? It is not. So we need that also on the list. Okay, we probably need a throttle. Let's be honest. Yeah. Fuel filter? Surprisingly in good condition. Normally on a lot of vehicles, our fuel filters have been a disgusting part. Alright, we already got the ignition coils. But we don't need to add them to the list. And same with the spark plugs. Okay, belt tensioner, we need one of those. New belt. New belt. Power steering, need a new power steering. Crank pulley, need a new one. Idler, need a new one. Alternator, need a new one. Water pump, need a new one. Timing cover? Anyone want to take a guess on if we need a new one? Yep. Timing belts, need a new timing belt. I'm just going to go ahead and do 2 new cam gears, even though we only need the one. Do we need new cam shaft? 1. Let's go ahead and just do 2, because might as well, if you're rebuilding this entire thing. Kind of just gonna need a whole bunch of new parts. Need a new engine. We're gonna go ahead and do all 4 pistons as well. Instead of trying to guess which pistons need to be replaced. Better just to have a brand new lot of stuff. Reuse what we can for sure, but it's just better to start fresh. Perfect. All right. Get this rotated back and start ordering. So, we need an engine head cover for an i4. We need a throttle for the i4, an intake for the i4, DI belt tensioner, idler, roller A, serpentine belt A and B. Where's the regular B? Serpentine belt Serpentine belt B, power steering, the regular I4, alternator, water pump, I4 water pump, cam gear, 2 regular cam gears? I think so. Cam shaft, 2 regular cam shafts, crankshaft for the I4, and the pulley for the I4. Then we need pistons, 4 new pistons. Let's do 4 new rings. Engine, head, cover, I4. And then engine, lock, I4. Perfect, I think that's all of that. And we just need the exhaust parts. So a turbo, charger, the catalytic converter, middle muffler, rear muffler, I4, and then we also need an exhaust pipe, the regular exhaust pipe, and air filter, and then the exhaust, not exhaust, section for a turbo, and right here, and an exhaust manifold for the i4 turbo. Perfect. I think we've got all the parts we need. Go ahead and start reassembling this motor. Got all these major brand new components. The car will run so much nicer again. All new pistons and rings, even though didn't necessarily need to, but it's just the right thing to do. No one should leave this shop without the proper equipment, unless that's a drive shaft, then they don't need that. Brand new spark plugs. Basically, the only thing that's not new on this is that fuel filter. Camshaft. Cam gear. Head cover. Ignition coils, all 4 new ignition coils. Ah, that's what we forgot. I forgot to do a timing belt. Okay. Pause. Need a timing belt. Alright, now we can continue. Oh, we need the timing belt cover too. There we go. Now we should be good. Remember, kids, always make a list of what you need. Okay, timing belt, brand new. Timing cover. Water pump. Cam pulley. Exhaust manifold. Okay, belt, belt, tensioner, fuel rail, intake, throttle. Okay, that's all of that. Need to put the flywheel, clutch plate, pressure plate, and bearing. Alright, now we need to rotate this. Get these. The old parts are what's holding all these new parts together, which is what's funny to me. Alright, oil pan, that should be one reassembled, basically brand new motor. Okay, let's take this off, put it back into the car. Okay, we need to... Okay, what we can install up here while we're here. Air filter. Make sure to put all the clips on, as so that your air filter does not fly out during rapid acceleration. Perfect. Okay, let's close that so we can race the car. We are done with the engine hoist. Time to reassemble. Let's actually get rid of the rest of the exhaust. So that way we can install the new exhaust. Okay, go back this way. Middle muffler, catalytic converter, and the front exhaust section for the turbo. While we're down here, we'll reinstall the gearbox. And the drive shaft. Drive shaft. Perfect. I think that's everything that we need to do underneath. Go ahead and lower the car back down. And okay. Next, let's reinstall the turbo. Did we actually buy a starter? Didn't need to. Perfect. All that is done and good. Nope, leave that open. Put back on our wheels. Need to fill it with oil before we send it out. Perfect. And finally, get her filled up. Okay. Now that should be one completed car. And that was.
Shut up and sit down.